Hi, everybody. So, money, 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 money. That is our topic today. I'm Steve Ryder, and I'm here to talk to you today about how you can make some money in real estate. I've been asked by the title company to share some of my trade secrets that I've had for years and years and years, and I'd just like to bring you this class. It's going to be a 4-part class, and what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to teach you in 4 segments, and then I'm also going to do some role playing at the end of each segment. So what we're going to do is break this class into 4 parts. Each part I'll do some teaching for anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, and then after that I will do a role play so you can go take action that week. So this class is designed that over a 4-week period you're going to learn how to work with buyers. And the reason we want you to work with buyers is it's a foolproof way to make money in real estate. It's an easy way for you to control your environment. It's an easy way for you to control your income. And so we're going to take and break it down for you on how you can make a 6-figure income. And yes, I said a 6-figure income on working with buyers. And by doing it time and time again, we're going to show you that you could do 25 sales in 25 weeks. You could spread that out and do a sale every other week. But what we're trying to accomplish is a 6-figure income. And why do I have the credentials to do that? Well, last year, my team and I, and we have 3 salespeople, we sold $68 million worth of real estate. That represented 331 sales transactions, and we earned $1.6 million in gross commission income. So I'm not a guy that is sitting on the sidelines, that's a trainer that hasn't embraced this type of stuff on a regular basis today, yesterday, last week. So go with me here as we go down the journey, if you will, on how to accomplish a 6-figure income by working with buyers. Number 1, we're going to talk about the mindset versus skill set. And what's really the difference? Well, your mindset is first getting your mind prepared to accomplish what you want to accomplish. We want you to get your mind prepared that if you accomplish what you accomplish, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to spend the money on? What are you going to invest your real estate income on? How is it going to change your family? So first of all, we want to talk about you deserve it. If you pass the real estate exam and you went through all those hours and crammed all those hours late at night or during the day to pass the real estate exam, you know what? You deserve it. You deserve a 6-figure income. Now, you have to make your actions a habit, and it takes 66 days to form a habit. Everybody says it takes 21 days to form a habit. That's bull. It takes a minimum of 66 days to form a habit, and that's 2 months. In some cases, it might take a little bit longer. So we're going to basically have you repeat your affirmations for 3 months in a row. We know if you do that for 3 months, saying something positive about yourself, before you know it, what you say in your mind is going to become a reality. And so what do you say to yourself? Well, we say, I am great, I am successful. I am great, I am successful. You know, there's times that I'm out running with my wife, and she runs all the time. I don't run very often, quite candidly, but when I get out there and I start feeling the pain and I start feeling the fatigue and I can see that I'm starting to kind of lower my head and shuffle my feet, I start saying to myself, I am great, I am successful. I am great, I am successful. And just by doing that and saying that to yourself, then all of a sudden your physicality improves and your posture improves, and all of a sudden you can bring more air and oxygen into your lungs, and before I know it, I'm going much, much faster than my wife. So it's a phenomenon that happens all the time. So first we have to work on our mind. After we work on our mind and we know we deserve it, then we got to work on our skills. So what actions do you take? And in real estate, here's the number 1 secret. Just do it. You are deserving, but you've got to take action. Don't get analysis paralysis. Don't sit there and get prepared and get prepared and get prepared and never take action. You see, if you don't take action, you don't know how it's going to work out for you. But if you do take action, you're going to probably fail your first time. But then what you're going to do is you're going to review that failure and see why you failed. What could you do from a script or a dialogue? What could you do from a posture standpoint? What can you do to have the right tools to enable you to make a sale. Now, we got to keep a routine schedule, guys. When it comes to real estate, the most daunting task is, what do you do every day when you wake up? If you've never been your own boss, one of the biggest problems you have is you wake up and you just don't know what to do. You're up, you're ready to go, you'd like to make some money, but you don't know how to prospect, you don't know how to get in front of buyers. In essence, you just don't know how to get up to bat. So we're going to design a schedule for you, and we're going to have you turn in this schedule. It's called an impact schedule, and we're going to have you turn it in every single week to your title company, and they're going to help monitor your success. They're going to be your accountability partner. So the way this video program works is you're going to have homework every week, and one of the things that you're going to do is say your positive affirmations, and we want you to say these affirmations really 5 times a day, and we want you to say them 5 times every time you say them. So, I am great. When I prospect, I am great, I am successful. When I prospect, I am great, I am successful. When I prospect, I am great, I am successful. So I want at the end of this class everyone to stand up and do this exercise, and I want everyone to call into their cell phone and leave themselves a voice message with this chant. When I prospect, I am great, I am successful. And we're going to do that at the end of the class. So let me ask you, truth or myth? See, there's a lot of things. You get into real estate and people start telling you, oh, you need to do this, or oh, you need to do that. You need to work with sellers. You need to work with buyers. Well, I'll be candid with you. There's a lot of myths out there, like buyers are liars. We hear that all the time. And really, it's not that the buyers are liars, it's the skill set that the agent doesn't have. It's the lack of skills to interview the buyer and find out what's really important to the buyer. It's not that the buyer's lying to them, they never got asked what was important to them. So that's the problem. Now, working with sellers bring you faster cash than working with buyers. True or false? Well, I'll be candid with you. It's false. Working with a seller, typically if you put a home on the market and you're the listing agent representing the seller, it's going to take an average of 30 to 40 days to sell that home in today's market. And then a typical close of escrow is another 30 to 45 days. So it's going to take you about 60 to 70 days to get paid. If you're working with a buyer, cash buyer, pre-approved buyer, you can close that transaction in 10 to 15 days, 30 days at a maximum. So which do you work with, buyers or sellers? When you're first getting into the business, I recommend that you work with buyers. Get control of your life. Learn how it works with buyers, and then you can move into sellers. Sellers, they say listers last, and that's true. It's a leverage position. But first we need to learn how to work with buyers. And working with buyers, you should make over $300 an hour. Is that true or false? It's absolutely true, because it's a mathematical formula, guys. I've been doing this across the United States. We've taken statistics from Albuquerque to Washington, D.C., to Charlotte, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, you name it. We know that our numbers that we're going to explain to you today are true in a down market or in an up market. So it's just a numbers game. Realize every time you get up to bat, you get an opportunity to improve your batting average. Yes, improve your batting average. That's what happens when you get up to bat, because it's constant repetition and learning. Now, here's the next question. Do most superstars or rookies of the year, did they do 2 to 4 open houses a week? Is that true or false? And I'm talking the absolute best of the best in any city across the United States, or the #1 in the nation. You ask them what they did their first year, and they'll tell you religiously they learned their market. They became an expert in their local area. They knew the builders in the area. They knew the product in the area. They were a product of real estate. They went out and learned. Because what does a buyer really want to know? They want to know what's out there. They want to know your knowledge and where did you get your knowledge and how can they learn from you and shorten their time frame and leverage your knowledge. That's what they're looking for. So how many types of buyers are there out there? You know, not every buyer is the same, and we don't approach every buyer the same. There's a tremendous opportunity for you out there in the audience. If you want to work with older buyers, because maybe you're a little older and they move the same pace you do, you can talk about the same things, then maybe we're going to work in a retirement community. If you're young and aggressive and you're thinking everything's green this day, maybe we're going to work in the green home, new home section. We may be specializing in technology and let the computer do our work. So there's different types of buyers and different ways to get prepared for those buyers, so each buyer feels special, and each buyer you have a category of information for them. Now, if you have a buyer broker form signed, is the buyer contractually bound to you? You see, when we say buyers are liars, it's because buyers have not signed anything. And we're going to show you a presentation that you can get a buyer to sign every time a buyer broker agreement. So, the myth, buyers are liars. The truth, most buyers are just not properly interviewed. And we're going to show you that interview process. Myth, buyers are not worth my time. Truth, buyers are quick money. You can close a transaction in, and I left it blank because it could be 5 days, it could be 10 days, it could be 15 days. So 7 days or less. It just is quicker. And the nice thing about it, if you leverage yourself into a new home product, you don't have to transact it. They do it for you. You don't have to inspect it. There's no inspection. You basically take the buyer to the new home community, and that's it. Drop them off. The builder will do the rest. So if we look at the buyer process, and we're trying to get in front of buyers, there's a premise that we're trying to accomplish. Get the buyer in the car. You meet a buyer, get them in the car, show them product, show them resale homes, show them foreclosures, show short sales, show new homes, but you got to get them in your car. Now, people will tell you right up front, you should always get every buyer pre-qualified, but I'll be honest, sometimes you got to earn the right with a buyer, and you got to work with them and show them that you have some knowledge before they're willing to sign anything and to make sure that they give you all their financial information. So where do you get a buyer? How do you come in contact with a buyer? Remember, this is a contact sport. So if it's a contact sport and you need to get in front of a buyer, how are we going to do that? Well, number one, we can do an open house. Number two, we can contact our sphere of influence. Number three, we can run an ad on Craigslist and get an ad call or an inquiry on the internet. We can have a property that's advertised out there if you have a listing and you get a sign call. And then the last thing is you can do cold calling. So there's ways that you can go out and find a buyer, but one of the absolute best ways to find a buyer is an open house. We have found statistically that you get 3 buyers on a Saturday, 3 buyers on a Sunday, statistically across the United States, year in and year out. That's 6 up-to-bats. 6 up-to-bats a week. We'll show you some statistics that show you how we can convert that into sales. So when you come in contact with a buyer, you're going to have to do a needs analysis, finding out what it is that they're looking for. And then once you find out what they're looking for, you're going to be so bold to tell them, I've got it. I've got it. Can we set up an appointment? Because the ABCs of selling says that I'm going to try and close you after I tell you I've got it. And I'm going to do that by setting up an appointment with the witch close. What is a witch close? It means I'm going to ask a question that I don't care which answer you give me. So here's an example. You know, do you guys want to go looking at properties during the week or on the weekend? Which is better for you? And they say weekend. I say, great. Let me ask you, which is better for you, Saturdays or Sundays? And they say, Sundays. Remember, I don't care which one. And then I say, okay, Sundays, that's great. Should we do it in the morning or in the afternoon? Which one's better for you? The morning. Perfect. So that's called a witch close. I witch closed them from during the week or the weekend. And they picked one. And once they picked the weekend, I said Saturday or Sunday. And they picked one. And then I said morning or afternoon. And they picked one. So I've got an appointment. I say, you know what? I'm going to have 3 homes right now that I can think of that are going to work for you perfectly. How about we go out 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, and we'll go look at those homes. And afterwards, we'll go back to my office, because there's some things I'd like to show you at my office that could maybe shorten our time process just a little bit. Fair enough? And that's called an NT close. So again, always be closing. So we're going to teach you all these techniques on going to open houses, holding open houses, but it starts with your schedule. This is the impact schedule that we want you to fill out, and we want you to block the time that you are appropriating to do some role playing, to go out and look at product, get product knowledge. It's called previewing. You have to preview every single week. You should put it on your schedule that you're going to go out and preview 10 houses a week, because it's very, very, very important that you get your weekly schedule set up. So we're not only going to ask you to turn in your schedule, but we're going to give you a sample. Your title representative will show you this very first week an example of what we would call an ideal week, and they'll pass that out at the break before we do the role play. Now, if you look at this and you say, let's break it down. We do open house every weekend, and the reason why we have 50 weeks here is we say we're going to take 2 weeks off. We know there's 52 weeks in a year, and so 50 weeks we're going to go out and do open houses. And if we go out and we just do 1 open house and get the 3 buyers, and that's 150 buyers. And as you go down the chart, you can see that mathematically, with the number of buyers that you're going to get, it's going to work out where you're making over $300,000 or over $300 an hour by doing this. But I would like to take a minute, and we're going to pause the video because I want you just to do a quick exercise with me. Number 1, what I'd like you to do is we're going to have everybody have a piece of paper in front of them, blank 8.5 by 11, and you can go ahead and take the time and pass those out right now while I'm talking. And I want everyone to take that 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and we're going to put 1, 2, and 3 down the page. So 1 at the top, number 2 at the middle, and number 3 at the bottom. And what I'd like someone to do is grab a calculator, and excuse me, I want to do the calculation of what it would look like monetarily if you were to make 25 sales in 1 year. Is that going to get you to a 6-figure income in your local area? So we're going to pause the video, and we're going to do your average sale price, and then we're going to do it times 3% commission, and then we're going to take that number and times it by 25%, and 25. And when we get that number, it's going to be 100,000 or more. I did a $218,000 analysis, and it was well into the $160,000 results. So I want you to do this here in your local area. Do the number, and then number 1, I want you to close your eyes for just 5 seconds, and then I want you to write number 1 answer, number 2 answer, and number 3 answer. So if you were to make 100,000 plus, answer number 1, what would you buy? Take 3 seconds, 5 seconds, write it down. What would you buy? Number 2, where would you go? Write it down quick. Where would you go? If you're making $100,000 in your real estate career with you and your family, your spouse, or your significant other, where would you go? And number 3, for you, bling bling for the women, for the men, something prestigious, what would you buy yourself? I want you to write that down. So number 1, what would you buy? Family, small gift, whatever. Number 2, where would you go? Number 3, for you, what would you buy? And I want you guys to all write these down, and then I want everyone to pass this over to the title representative so they can collect them, and they're going to be your accountability partner. They're going to help you make this come true. So let's take just a minute and do this exercise. Hi, welcome back. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that exercise. You know, I've done that exercise many, many times, and I think probably one of the funnest things about that is to get to just visualize what you're going to buy. And then do this at home with your spouse. It's a fun exercise. So now let's get right down to it. Week number 1, what's your homework? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna get prepared for this very first week? Well, you're either gonna do an open house or you're gonna visit open houses. And I don't really care which one, because week 2, you're gonna take action. So number 1, check with your office, your fellow agents, find if someone's got an open house that you can sit. Borrow some signs if you can. We're gonna do a drawing for a $200 American Express gift certificate, so you can go out and buy your own signs and buy your own flags and have the tools that you need to have. We also need you to go out and do the research around the area that you're gonna start doing open houses. You've got to get familiar with all the surroundings. What are the schools? What are the shopping? What's around the area? And then what you need to do is you need to get your materials for your open house. What do you do for materials? Well, you need flyers, you need stands, you need a whole system, and we're going to show you what that system would look like so you can get better prepared for your open house. And then number 5, you're going to do one of 2 things. You're either going to visit 3 open houses and take notes on the good and the bad techniques that the agent will do. So what you're doing is you're using our open house checklist, and you're going in. Were they standing there? Was there a sign at the front door telling you that you need to sign in? Did they have a sign-in sheet? Did they have a clipboard? Did they have a book that you had to sign in? Did they not even ask you to sign in? What are the things that they're doing so you can see the difference between a good open house and a bad open house as a realtor and / a consumer? So it's important. So here's our checklist, and you can just run down this checklist, get things that you need for your open house, and the next seminar, we're going to actually get you a checklist for an open house kit. Okay, so that open house kit will give you an opportunity to have everything predetermined on what you're going to need for every single open house. So you just have it in a tote box, you just take it with you and have it in your trunk. It makes it easy. So you're going to have clipboards, pens, property flyers, you're going to have some refreshments, you're going to have real estate clippings and articles. So we're going to go through this in a little bit more detail in our next webinar, but I wanted you to have the list so you have an idea what it is that you're looking for when you go to an open house. Now, if you're sitting in an open house, we're providing you with a clipboard, 6-inch clipboard, and a sign-in sheet. And we're going to have these available at the end of this session so you can take a look. Okay, guys, so this is what you're challenged with. Get prepared for your first open house. If you think you're ready to do it, go ahead and go try it, because next week we're going to see how it turned out. If you're not quite ready to take that action, we want you to go to 3 open houses and use the checklist as a checklist for their efficiency to see for sure if they're doing a good job. Now, I'm going to do a role play for you on how you would basically meet and greet the agents, or excuse me, meet and greet the buyers as they come in. Enjoy the role play. Let's go. Hi guys. Okay, for our first role play today, what I'd like to do is just start with the open house checklist and review the open house checklist with you, because you're doing one of 2 things. You're either going to do your very first open house, or you're going to go out and look at 2 or 3 open houses and trying to figure out if these people are doing the right thing, if your fellow realtors are actually on the ball. So let me run through this list with you, and then I'm going to show you how this clipboard and this pen will be very, very easy for you to get someone to sign in. And that's the very first thing that we work on, is how do you get people to sign in. So before I go there, I just want to review our checklist. We have number 1, our sold comps. Those are any houses that have sold around the open house that you're sitting. So if someone says to you, I like this house and I'd like to make an offer, or what are the houses in the area selling for, they're asking for the sold comps. They're giving you a buying signal that they're ready to make an offer. Open house signs, sign-in sheets. You want to make sure you have your sign-in sheets that have both the front and the back, because on the back we have some different questions, and I'll go through those questions. We need to make sure you have 6-inch clipboards and plenty of pens. You need to have a property flyer as well as a financial flyer. So you want to make sure that you've got a flyer that describes the property, and on the back, if it's 2-sided, You have two sides of flyers or two sides of pictures. If it's one-sided, then on the back you would have the financial flyer. You want to make sure that you have refreshments. You want to make sure that you call the owner and remind them on a Thursday or a Wednesday about the open house, and you might send them a little friendly reminder via email the night before. You want to see if you can have a letter of recommendation there on the table from one of your happy buyers. Everyone wants to work with someone that is happy with the people they're working with. You want to make sure you've got your business cards. You can have some cookies or some snacks or some lemonade. You want to make sure you have sticky notes, the little yellow sticky notes. The lady I talked to you about the other day had these cute little red starbursts that said, "Look here," and she had them around the property and basically highlighting different features throughout the home, and she said everyone loves to talk about her starburst, and that was one of her secrets. So same thing that we do is either starburst or sticky notes that highlight different features throughout the home, like dual pane windows or things that you may not necessarily see. And then we have balloons, or we'll have a flag that attracts attention, a walking farm. We make sure we have articles that we talked about earlier that are clippings that say that the market's going up or what's going on in your local market. And you could also have your laptop or an iPad and a buyer or a seller kit. So when we have the role play for this, I really want to do this simply for you and make you understand that it is really as simple as this. There's two parts to getting someone to sign in. Number one, having a sign on the door. See, people respect the written word, and when they come to the door, if on the front door you have a laminated flyer that says, for security purposes, the seller requires that all guests sign in. And then when they sign in, you come walking up and you go, "Hi folks, how you doing?" And that's it. "Hi folks, how you doing?" That's it. "Hi folks, how you doing?" Could that really be it? They come walking in, you go, "Hi folks, how you doing?" And you just stick out the pen and stick out the clipboard and you hand it to them. And you say, or you can say, "Which one of you has the best penmanship?" But it's either, "Hi folks, how you doing?" or "Which one of you has the best penmanship?" And you just give it to them. That's it. There's no secret. And then what you do is you turn around and you say, "Let me grab you a flyer," and you pull the flyer out, and then you say, "Let me tell you a little bit about the home." You wait till they give you back the clipboard. They give you back the clipboard, and the reason we use a clipboard is this is a secret that I learned way, way, way back. If you have them bend over and have them sign something, all of a sudden they got a backache. If they've got to do anything different, then just hand it to them. And the beautiful thing about just, "Hi folks, how you doing?" When you give someone something, they naturally take it. So this is the technique and the trick we want you to learn for this week. Go out and do it, be comfortable with it, and let's have some great success. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Go out and knock them dead.